The most beautiful mirrors in the world had a secret. They did not just reflect your image, they stole your future. The Guild of Argentiers, the legendary silversmiths of Belle Époque Paris, promised their wealthy clients a miracle, a perfect reflection, a face untouched by time, worry, or imperfection. What they never revealed was the price. Every glance into the glass, every moment of vanity, cost the user a fraction of a second of their own lifespan. A tiny, imperceptible tax on tomorrow, paid for a perfect image today. Before you look away, understand the reflection you see every day. This channel is not for those who are comfortable with the surface of things. We are here to show you the silvering on the back of the glass, to reveal the cold, alchemical machinery of a world that offers you beauty in exchange for your life. If you are content with the trade, then this story is not for you. But if you have ever felt that your future is being sold out from under you for a moment's fleeting satisfaction, then subscribe. Prove you are no longer willing to pay the price. This was not craftsmanship. It was the most elegant and insidious form of temporal arbitrage ever conceived, an economy built not on gold but on stolen moments, harvested from the vanity of the rich, then concentrated, bottled, and sold to the truly powerful as the ultimate luxury good, more time. Our story begins in Paris, 1895, a city drunk on art, science, and a frantic, decadent pursuit of youth. The city's elite, its bankers, its duchesses, its artists, all coveted a single object above all others, a mirror crafted by the Argentiers. These were not mere objects. They were status symbols, magical artifacts whispered to grant their owners a beauty that never seemed to fade, but they were not granting beauty. They were simply showing you a perfect present while quietly foreclosing on your future. And in a silent, silver-lined vault beneath the city, the seconds they collected were adding up to lifetimes. The master of this silent, silvered empire was a man known only as Le Maître. He was the hereditary head of the Argentiers Guild, a man whose family had guarded its secrets for centuries. He was a figure of phantom-like elegance, always seen in a perfectly tailored gray suit, his face as smooth and unreadable as one of his own mirrors. His eyes, the color of tarnished silver, held a chilling, ancient stillness. He saw his wealthy clients not as patrons, but as a vast, renewable resource, a garden of vanity from which he harvested his precious temporal crop. The Guild's workshop, hidden in a quiet, unmarked building in the Place Vendôme, was a place of impossible science. It was part alchemical laboratory, part jeweler's studio. Here, the Argentiers performed the secret process known as temporal silvering. The mirrors were not backed with simple mercury. They were coated with a complex amalgam of silver, crushed pearl, and a single secret ingredient, a fine crystalline dust harvested from meteorites, which Le Maître called poussière d'étoiles, stardust. This stardust had a unique quantum property. It resonated with the subtle temporal field that surrounds a conscious being. When a person looked into the mirror, the stardust-infused silver would create a perfect temporal reflection, showing the subject not as they were in that messy, imperfect instant, but as their ideal self. It would smooth a worry line, brighten a tired eye, add a subtle glow to the skin. But this act of temporal correction required energy. The mirror would draw an infinitesimal fraction of a second from the subject's own future, from the end of their life, and use it to power the perfect reflection in the present. It was the ultimate Faustian bargain, made 1,000 times a day, with every casual, narcissistic glance. But the stolen time was not lost. This was the second and most crucial secret of the Guild. The silver amalgam was designed to act as a capacitor. The harvested moments, the stolen seconds, minutes, and hours were stored within the mirror itself. Once a month, under the darkness of the new moon, the Guild's members would collect the charged mirrors from their clients for polishing and resilvering. In their laboratory, they would perform the harvest. Using a series of resonating tuning forks and a powerful electromagnetic field, they would force the mirror to release its stored temporal energy. This energy, a shimmering, silvery mist, would be siphoned off and condensed into heavy, lead-lined vials. The resulting liquid was called l'essence du temps, the essence of time. It was the most valuable substance on Earth. The first to suspect this terrible truth was a young, ambitious journalist named Julien. He was a new kind of writer, one who chronicled the decadent, high-stakes world of Parisian finance. He began to notice a strange, morbid pattern. The wealthiest, most powerful men in Paris, the ones who owned the largest and most ancient of the Argentiers mirrors, all seemed to die young and always in the same way, a sudden, catastrophic, premature aging. A man of 50 would be found dead in his bed, his body withered into that of a 90-year-old overnight. The official cause of death was always a sudden, wasting sickness. But but Julian saw a connection. The men who own the most beautiful reflections seem to have the shortest futures. Julian's investigation began with a single tragic case, the death of the Baron de Rothschild, a man who had been a titan of industry, found withered in his locked bedchamber. The only thing of note in the room was his prized Argentier mirror, a massive, ornate piece that had been in his family for generations. Julian, using his press credentials, gained access to the police report. He found a strange, seemingly irrelevant detail noted by the attending physician. The air in the room had a faint, metallic smell, like the air after a lightning strike, and the surface of the grand mirror was inexplicably cold to the touch, despite the warmth of the room. He began to compile a list. He cross-referenced the Argentier's known client list, a secret he obtained by bribing a disgruntled former apprentice, with the city's obituaries from the last 50 years. The pattern was undeniable. The owners of Argentier mirrors had a life expectancy 20 years shorter than their peers. The more ancient and prized the mirror, the younger they died. It was a perfect, morbid correlation. He needed to get closer. He needed to understand the object itself. He found his way in through a woman named Colette, a celebrated but aging actress who had just become the new mistress of a powerful duke. The duke had gifted her a brand new, magnificent Argentier mirror as a sign of his affection. Colette was terrified of losing her beauty, of being replaced by a younger rival. She was the perfect, desperate subject. Julian, posing as a man of science, interested in the psychology of aesthetics, befriended her. He watched as Colette became utterly captivated by the mirror. She would spend hours staring at her reflection, which seemed to grow more beautiful, more radiant with each passing day. "It is a miracle, Julian," she would say, her eyes shining with a feverish delight. "The mirror shows me not as I am, but as I should be. It erases the years." Julian, however, saw the truth. As Colette's reflection grew more vibrant, she herself seemed to fade. A new, subtle weariness appeared in her eyes when she wasn't looking in the mirror. She complained of a constant, low-grade fatigue, a feeling that she was running out of time. She was not being made more beautiful. She was being drained. One night, while a guest at the Duke's mansion, Julian performed a secret experiment. After Colette had gone to bed, he snuck into her chambers. He carried a highly sensitive chronometer of his own design. He placed it directly in front of the mirror. For an hour, he watched the dial. The chronometer, one of the most accurate in the world, lost almost a full second. The mirror was not just a passive object. It was a sink, a temporal void that was actively drawing time from its immediate environment. His journal entry from that night is a testament to his chilling discovery. March 12, 1895. The mirror is a parasite. Its beauty is not a reflection. It is a lure. It shows its victim a perfected image, and in their moment of vanity, it feeds. It drinks their future. The fatigue Colette feels is the literal loss of her own lifespan, 1 second at a time. Lemaitre is not a craftsman. He is a farmer, and the vanities of the Parisian elite are his fields. But to what end? Where does the stolen time go? The answer to Julian's question lay in the second half of the Argentier's business model, the selling of time. Lemaitre's most exclusive clients were not the vain and beautiful, but the old and powerful, men who had already squandered their own futures and were desperate to buy more. These were shadowy figures from the highest echelons of European power, ancient, reptilian bankers from Zurich, decrepit Russian nobles, and even, it was whispered, a high-ranking cardinal in the Vatican. The essence of time, the silvery liquid harvested from the mirrors, was the ultimate elixir. It could not make one young again, but it could postpone the inevitable. A single drop, administered weekly, could hold off the ravages of age, sustaining a dying body for months, even years, beyond its natural span. The price was astronomical. A vial of condensed time, a single stolen year, could cost as much as a railroad. The Guild was not just a business. It was a temporal stock market, trading in the futures of the young and beautiful to extend the leases on the lives of the old and powerful. Julian uncovered this secret market through a disgraced physician named Dr. Renaud, a man whose career had been destroyed by a gambling addiction. Renaud had once been a client of the Guild, purchasing SM. All vials of the essence to treat his wealthy, terminally ill patients, prolonging their lives just long enough for them to sign over a new will or complete a business deal. Julian, promising to clear Renaud's debts, persuaded him to reveal the secrets of this hidden economy. Renaud explained the process, the vials of silvery liquid, the discreet monthly deliveries, and the chilling final payment. When one of Lemaitre's elderly clients finally died, their body did not wither. It suffered a temporal collapse. The years they had borrowed, the time they had stolen, would suddenly reclaim them all at once. Their body would flash age, crumbling to dust in a matter of moments, leaving behind nothing but a pile of fine gray powder and the faint, metallic scent of ozone. This was the proof Julian needed. It was the same phenomenon reported at the deathbeds of the young, mirror-owning aristocrats, but in reverse. One group was having their future stolen, the other was paying it back with interest. His plan was no longer just to expose the truth, it was to destroy the system. He knew he could not confront Lemaitre directly. He had to bankrupt him. He had to destroy his reserve of stolen time. He needed to find the guild's vault. Dr. Renaud, haunted by his own complicity, gave him the final key. He knew that the guild's monthly harvest ritual took place in a hidden workshop beneath their showroom in the Place Vendôme, and he knew that the guild required a special kind of silence for their delicate work, a silence so profound they had commissioned a unique security system, a series of interlocking vaults whose doors could only be opened by a specific sequence of resonating musical notes, a sonic lock. This is the turning point, the moment the battle becomes a heist, a mission to steal back time itself. If you understand the elegance of this temporal economy, the perfect, cruel balance of its books, then make your presence known. This story is for those who see the transactions hidden behind the veils of beauty and power. Hit the like button. Subscribe. The vault is about to be opened. Julian knew he needed a specialist. He turned to Colette, the actress. Her terror had now blossomed into a quiet, burning rage. "He is not just stealing my life," she whispered to Julian, her face pale. "He is stealing my art, my future performances, the roles I will never get to play." Colette had a secret skill, a relic from her early days as a poor music hall singer, a perfect, eidetic memory for sound. She could hear a melody once and replicate it flawlessly. Julian's plan was audacious. Colette, using her status as the Duke's mistress, would arrange a private, after-hours visit to the Argentiers' showroom under the pretense of commissioning a new piece. While she distracted Lemaitre with her charm and vanity, Julian, hidden nearby, would use a sensitive new recording device, a prototype phonograph, to capture the sequence of chimes Lemaitre used to open the inner vaults as he prepared for the night's harvest. They were going to steal the key to the Bank of Time. The heist was a masterpiece of nerve and deception. Colette, draped in jewels and feigning a fit of artistic pique, captivated Lemaitre, her performance so masterful that the ancient Argentier was momentarily blinded by the very vanity he exploited. From a darkened gallery above, Julian, his hands steady, aimed the horn of his phonograph, capturing the faint, silvery chimes as Lemaitre, with a sigh of irritation, opened the way to his subterranean workshop. Days later, Julian and Colette returned, armed with the wax cylinder recording and a set of finely tuned silver bells. They slipped into the showroom after midnight, a ghost and his muse. They played back the recorded chimes. The sonic locks, one by one, clicked open, revealing a staircase that descended into the cold, silent heart of the guild's empire. The vault was not filled with gold. It was a library of lifetimes, racks upon racks of lead-lined vials, each one shimmering with a faint, silvery light, each one labeled with a name and a date, a stolen year, a harvested decade. In the center of the room, on a velvet pedestal, sat a single, massive decanter. It glowed with the light of 1,000 stolen futures. This was the guild's reserve, the collected time of generations. Julian had not come to steal it. He had come to release it. He had brought with him a device of his own invention, based on the principles of the guild's own resonating forks. It was a small, powerful electromagnetic pulse generator. His theory was simple. A powerful, chaotic energy field should destabilize the temporal suspension. He placed the device in the center of the room. "Get out now," he told Colette. As she fled up the stairs, Julian threw the switch. The device emitted a low hum, which quickly rose to a silent, brain-rattling shriek. The vials on the shelves began to vibrate. The silvery liquid inside began to boil. Lemaitre, in his apartments above, felt the tremor not in the floor, but in his own ancient bones. He felt the foundation of his immortal enterprise begin to crack. He rushed towards the workshop, his ageless composure finally shattered. He arrived at the vault door just as the central decanter exploded. It was not a physical explosion, it was a temporal detonation, a silent, blinding flash of pure white light. 300 years of stolen time, the harvested futures of thousands of souls, erupted back into the world in a single, chaotic instant. The effect was a paradox. In the streets of Paris above, time itself seemed to stutter. For a few seconds the city froze, a photograph of itself. Then time rushed back in, but it was dirty. A baker found his fresh-baked bread was suddenly a day stale. A young lover's bloom of passion aged instantly into comfortable, familiar affection. The temporal purity of the city was flooded with the chaotic, random noise of thousands of stolen lives. For Julian, who was closest to the blast, the effect was devastating. He was caught in the temporal shockwave. He aged 50 years in 5 seconds, his dark hair turning snow white, his face instantly etched with the lines of a lifetime he had never lived. He stumbled from the building, a young man in the body of an old one, the price of his victory written on his own skin. Lemaitre, caught at the threshold, suffered the opposite fate. As the stolen time he had used to sustain himself was violently reclaimed by the universe, he began to age backwards. His silver hair darkened, his skin smoothed, and his ancient eyes filled with a forgotten youthful terror. He de-aged through his own stolen centuries, finally collapsing into a pile of infants' clothes and dust, his temporal debt paid in full. The Guild of Argentiers was broken. Their vault was empty, their master erased from time, and their secrets exposed. Julian, now a prematurely ancient man, delivered his story, along with Dr. Renaud's testimony and a single, inert vial from the vault, to the most honest newspaper editor he knew. The scandal that erupted was a tidal wave that shook the foundations of Parisian society. The wasting sickness was finally given a name. The premature deaths of the city's elite were re-examined. The clients who had been buying the essence of time were exposed, their unnatural longevity suddenly a source of grotesque scandal rather than envy. The beautiful Argentier mirrors, once symbols of status, became objects of terror. They were torn from the walls of mansions and chateaux, smashed in the streets, their shards swept away like the remnants of a plague. But the story doesn't end with a victory. The science was not destroyed, only the guild that had monopolized it. The knowledge of temporal silvering, the alchemical principles of harvesting and storing time, were now out in the world, contained in Julian's explosive articles. Other, less scrupulous artisans and scientists began their own secret experiments. The technology proliferated, becoming a hidden black market science. Julian lived out his shortened life as a recluse, a Cassandra whose terrible warning had been heard but not truly understood. He watched as the world, having been shown the terrible price of vanity, simply found new, more subtle ways to pay it. Colette, the actress, was freed from her mirror's curse. The weariness left her, but so did the miraculous beauty. She aged naturally, beautifully, becoming one of the most celebrated character actresses of her generation, her face a testament to a life fully lived. She was the only one who had truly won. And the temporal fabric of Paris was never the same. The city became known for its strange, lingering sense of déjà vu, for its moments of uncanny stillness, for the feeling that its past was not truly past, but was still echoing in its streets. The great temporal detonation had left a permanent scar, a ghost in the city's clockwork. The most terrifying legacy was this: the world had learned that time itself was a commodity, a thing that could be taken, bottled, and sold. The principle was too powerful to be forgotten. The age of industrial temporal theft had begun. The mirrors were just the prototype. New, more efficient methods of harvesting would be invented, methods that did not require vanity, only participation. Methods so subtle, so pervasive, that the entire world would become a garden, and its population, the willing, oblivious crop. The Argentiers were gone, but the harvest had just begun. The legacy of the Guild of Argentiers is not a ghost story about mirrors. It is the operating manual for a new form of capitalism, one that has perfected the art of convincing you to sell your own future for a beautiful, fleeting image of the present. Lemaitre's genius was not alchemy, it was marketing. He understood that you don't need to force a person to give you their life if you can make them fall in love with a reflection that is slowly drinking it. He created the perfect product, an object that fed on the very vanity it created, a closed, perfect, parasitic loop. This system was not destroyed, it was democratized. The Argentier mirror is no longer a rare, physical object. It is the glowing screen in your hand. The perfect temporal reflection is the filtered photograph, the curated social media profile, the digital avatar that is always more beautiful, more successful, and happier than the real you. And the harvest is no longer a monthly ritual. It is constant. Every moment you spend staring at that perfected, unreal world, every second of your attention, every spark of your desire, is a tiny, imperceptible tithe of your own real, finite time. The essence of time is now called user engagement data, and it is the most valuable commodity on Earth, harvested from billions and used to sustain the power of a new, invisible aristocracy. The wasting sickness is the slow, digital aging of the soul. It is the creeping anxiety, the burnout, the feeling that your life is a series of fleeting, disconnected moments, a life measured in dopamine hits rather than meaningful experiences. You look up from the screen and realize a year has passed, and you feel strangely, inexplicably hollowed out. Now you must make a choice. Will you continue to trade your life for a beautiful reflection? Will you be the crop in their endless harvest, or will you shatter the glass? In the comments below, it is time to make your declaration, a vow to reclaim your own future. State it twice, to make the vow unbreakable. My future is not for sale. My future is not for sale. This is not a comment. It is the cancellation of a contract you never knew you signed. If you are ready to continue this work, to see the hidden mechanisms of the modern world, subscribe. Activate the notification bell, for the harvest is silent and never-ending. Share this with one other person who you know is tired of the reflection, who is ready to see what is real. They want you to look in the mirror and see only your reflection. We are here to show you the machinery on the other side.